Good morning and welcome to the first episode of our Surgeon's Viewpoint series brought to you by IQ Super Speciality Eye Hospitals. And today we have pleasure of having Dr. Puneet Jain, who is a senior oculoplasty surgeon with IQ Super Speciality Eye Hospitals. And Dr. Puneet has a vast experience in treating ocular tumors and ocular infections, and he has been trained at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Right. So, very good morning and welcome, Dr. Puneet, to this uh, the unique chat on Zoom, which we are doing for our patients, especially those ones who are suffering or recovering from COVID. These days, we are actually listening a lot about a lot of eye problems which are coming to these patients, and especially there is a lot of talk about black fungus affecting a lot of these patients. So, can you just briefly tell us what is this all about, and what is this black fungus, and why is this more important now as compared to earlier?
Thank you so much, Dr. Dipender sir, for this opportunity to share my views on this apparently rampant black fungus now. So, COVID times have made us see a lot of unprecedented things, and one of such disease is the black fungus, also known as mucormycosis. Now, this is a very rare fungal infection, and it is termed as black fungus because of the color of the fungal growth. So, it grows as a blackish fungus on the surfaces. Now, this is caused by the mold, or the fungus is called mucor, hence the name mucormycosis. Now, this fungus is not something that has appeared out of the blue. It is ubiquitous. It is usually present in the soil, in the manure, and in also in rotten and decaying fruits and vegetables. It is even present in normal nasal or nasal mucosa of healthy individuals as well. So this is not a fungus which has come out of come out of the blue somewhere. It is present all around us. It's just that how our immunity and how our body has responded to the COVID infection, as well as the treatments given for it, that this scenario has risen. Now, this disease usually infects or starts with the paranasal sinuses. So we have the maxillary sinus, the frontal sinuses. These sinuses are first to get involved, and then eventually this disease progresses very fast to involve the eye orbit, as well as it can spread to the brain also. This is why it is also called a rhino-orbital cerebral disease, meaning involving the nose, the orbit, and the brain. That said, it can also present with lung involvement also. Now, it can be a very life-threatening kind of a disease in immunocompromised individuals like cancer patients, patients with HIV/AIDS, and in patients with uncontrolled diabetes mellitus. Now, why this is the usual question that, like you asked, is that why there is a sudden surge in these cases? Why not last year? Why not 1990? Why not 1980? Now, in my personal experience and in the literature that has come off late, it seems to be triggered by extensive use of steroids. Now, steroids, as we all know, are a life-saving treatment in all moderate to severe cases of COVID-19 infection. But unfortunately, while they benefit us in the recovery from COVID-19, these steroids, they lower our immunity and also cause a sudden upsurge in the blood sugar levels, which can happen in diabetics as well as previously non-diabetic patients. Also, there has been a concern for patients who are on humidified oxygen as to the water that is used to humidify the oxygen could be a potential source of growth of this fungus, as this fungus is found on wet surfaces. So, care must be taken to make sure that there is no water leak while the oxygen is being humidified. So, I feel that all this combined has led to a sudden upsurge in cases of this black fungus as we know it today in COVID and post-COVID patients.
Right, I think very informative. Thank you. So, what I could get from your description is that it is a fungus which was always there around us, but it's only when our immunity goes down, it starts invading the sinuses, which are air spaces around our nose and facial area, and then it slowly keeps on growing to invade the structures around the eyeball. And if we don't stop it or treat it, then it can go to our brain also. And because now COVID treatment requires giving patient lot of steroids, and which can compromise the immunity. So it is actually a side effect of the treatment. But you also highlighted that treatment itself is life saving, so we can't even avoid it. So very informative. So tell us, who are the people who are at higher risk for acquiring this black fungus?
This is a very pertinent question. So, very broadly speaking, anybody with uncontrolled diabetes mellitus uh, is highly susceptible to acquiring this fungus in the COVID scenario as well as otherwise as well. Patients with COVID-19 infection who have been treated with corticosteroids. Now, all of us are aware of the common brand names of steroids. So anybody treated with dexamethasone, methylprednisolone, Predmet, and all these drugs are at higher than usual risk of acquiring this infection. Also, patients treated with immunomodulators, COVID patients who have been on mechanical ventilation, patients who have received prolonged oxygen therapy, patients who have had a prolonged ICU stay, and patients with any immunocompromised state. That could be cancer patient, a patient suffering from HIV/AIDS. These subset of patients are at extremely high risk of acquiring the mucormycosis or the black fungus.
Right. Thank you. Can you also tell us that is it a very serious disease, or can we control it in early stages, or how serious is this black fungus?
Right. So, so the hype that is going around with the black fungus, we have had a little outburst of messages going on WhatsApp groups and in social media. So unfortunately, the scare that has been created about this fungus is true in the sense that it is a vision threatening as well as a life threatening condition with high mortality. Now, that does not mean that it is not a treatable condition or a preventable condition. There are certain things that can be done to prevent this condition. There are things that can there are signs and symptoms which can be looked out for so that it can be identified in its early stages and can be treated accordingly. All sorts of cases can be treated, but the prognosis becomes poorer as the fungus advances. So if it is restricted to one compartment in the body like sinuses, then the chances of response to treatment, both medical as well as surgical, are high. But once it crosses the barriers and involves multiple systems like the eye and it spreads elsewhere, then definitely the chances of it threatening life increase disproportionately, and then eventually can lead to a very bad outcome.
Perfect. So tell me one thing, everybody who is affected by COVID, is everybody on higher risk, or like there are some subset of patients who are at more risk?
All right. So the thing is that the initially, so let's say 6 weeks back when the when the cases of black fungus started rising, the initial notion or the initial consensus that came out was that only patients who are undergoing COVID recovery with the risk factors that I have already highlighted. So not all patients who are recovering for COVID, but the patients who are recovering of COVID with the high risk factors like uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, steroid use, oxygen therapy, immunocompromised state. Broadly, these patients are the ones who should watch out for the early signs and symptoms of this disease post, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks post recovery. But what we are seeing now is that even patients who are having active COVID infection have started developing this disease. So if we are to speak broadly, then all the patients who are actively having COVID infection or are recovering from COVID infection should watch out for the early signs and symptoms, which will be subsequently be discussed in this video, and then take it from there. It's very important that we self-assess at home because considering the saturation of the medical facilities that we have at hand, it is very important that we self-assess at home so that we do not unnecessarily panic and we also not miss out on the early signs and symptoms of this uh, serious disease.
Excellent. I think so. Coming down to the most important and questions for all our audience, that what are the signs and symptoms which should make anyone alert that this might be a black fungus which is starting, and one should immediately then report to an eye surgeon. Can you elaborate all the signs to us?
Right. So, in my clinical experience, the most common early signs of this infection are facial pain. Now, pain can be a very non-specific symptom. You might think, okay, I am having right-sided facial pain. It's nothing. So, one should be very careful, especially if the pain is unilateral and in the cheek area. In this area where the sinus is basically where this fungus starts. Second is any facial swelling, puffiness, or discoloration, blackish hue or bluish discoloration, again in the facial area, especially if it is unilateral. Third is any blackish discharge from the nose or any blackish discoloration at the nostrils. Now, this would be the fungal proliferation happening, so one should watch out for it. Sinus headache. So, if you have had a history of sinusitis in the past and you know yourself that you are a case of sinusitis, still, if your sinus headaches suddenly increase or you are having pain in the area where the sinuses are, that would be the frontal sinus and the maxillary sinus. Any pain in this area could be early sign, especially if you are recovering or recovered from COVID. Coming to the eye signs of this condition, so sudden blurring of vision, sudden loss of vision, sudden appearance of double vision, sudden drooping of the eyelid. So you have a sudden eye closure and you're not able to open the eye. And any dental pain. Now, dental pain is something again we usually miss, and that could be the earliest sign because it's right at the root of the sinus where the infection starts. So if we are facing or if we have faced or if we are having these any of these early symptoms and signs, then we must immediately consult a super specialist before this person's.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was very useful. Tell us one more thing. Which specialist a patient should go to? Like you said, there is sinuses being involved, then eyes getting involved, and then brain. So, which is the right specialist to seek advice?
So, so going scientifically as to how the fungus progresses, so ENT, that is the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and the eye specialist, they are central to this disease, especially in early stages. So if you have access to an ENT specialist near your house or at least on a teleconsultation or an eye specialist, so whomsoever is available at you think is available the earliest should be contacted. Now the team in the management does not just comprise of an ENT or surgeon or an eye specialist. It also includes care coordination with the neurosurgeon, with the endocrinologist, with the microbiologist. So it's basically a multi-speciality team effort which involves both medical aspects of the disease as well as surgical treatment. So it has to be a holistic approach and it has to be prompt because the disease is very aggressive.
Yeah, great points. One more question. What do we expect when, like, as a patient, when we start seeking treatment? Will it be a surgery? Will it be a series of surgeries or medicines? How do you treat it?
All right. So let's say we have a patient presents to me and I have high index of suspicion that this patient might be a case of black fungus. So the first thing that follows is a series of investigations, which includes basic blood tests, which are important as baseline blood tests also, and would also tell us your fitness for the subsequent medications and surgeries that you will undergo. The second step is to get a radiological imaging of the sinuses, of the orbit, and of the brain. So this covers all the three regions where this fungus eventually starts and extends to. So an MRI with contrast would be the investigation of choice for me. if I am to suspect an early case of mucormycosis. Once these two things are done, the next step is usually clearing of the sinuses, so a sinus surgery under the care of an ENT specialist. And depending on the extent of the disease, then the eye specialist and the neurosurgeon also come into picture.
Excellent.
So once the diagnosis of the fungus is established on clearing and a biopsy report and a microbiology report is achieved, the patient is immediately started on uh, antifungal agents. Now, the most common drug used in treatment and most effective drug is amphotericin B, which is given by the IV route, intravenous route.
Right. And surgery would be done under general anesthesia or local?
Right. So all these surgeries are usually carried out under general anesthesia.
Okay, fine. And is it a very expensive surgery? I don't know. The question may not be relevant for all the audience, but for some of us, how expensive? Can you give us just a rough?
So I cannot being an eye specialist, I cannot comment on the ENT aspect of the surgeries, but the eye aspect of the surgeries is not that expensive. There are certain subset of patients, if they present very early and if we are able to pick the black fungus, there can be some injections that can be given behind the eye to control the infection in the orbit. So we might eventually be able to prevent a surgery from the eye perspective in such patients. That's why the importance. Otherwise, what happens is that if the disease extends, then we might have to remove the entire eyeball also in severe cases. So our aim is to avoid that. First aim is obviously to prevent vision loss. The next aim is to prevent eye loss. So vision salvage followed by globe salvage.
Perfect. So one last question, that what will be the three key messages to all the COVID patients or patients who have suffered from COVID? What all precautions they should take, and so that they escape this black fungus?
So my first take home message would be that please don't panic and watch out for the early signs that have been already elucidated in this video. If you are careful and if you can self-assess at home, half of our job is done. The second thing is that all the high-risk patients, they should be very, very aware. Sometimes what happens is that the patient himself or herself cannot assess. So the attendants and the relatives at home have to watch out for these early signs, especially in patients who have uncontrolled diabetes or have had oxygen therapy, corticosteroid use, or have been on mechanical ventilation. The third thing is that this is preventable. So what are the measures that we can take to prevent this? Is keep your immunity high. So how can you boost your immune system? Keep your diet healthy, eat lots of fruits, green leafy vegetables, keep your hydration high, especially in summer months. And despite lockdown, try to do some exercises that can be done at home also on the treadmill, or you can walk in your veranda and things like that. So keep your body moving, get your circulation going. The second thing is please use steroids rationally. Do not self-medicate. Do not start using oral steroids just because you have had a fever. There are standard guidelines, national guidelines that have been issued by the Ministry of Health as well, that so and so needs to be done in this case. So please follow those guidelines. Don't panic and start taking steroids just because your friend did or your other relative did. These things can have bearing consequences which will be visible later on during your recovery. The third thing is that if you are a diabetic, or even if you are not a diabetic, please make sure that you have good blood sugar monitoring and control, especially that you have been put on steroid because of the COVID infection. Now, if you take these three things in mind, I think we can tide over this small epidemic that has arisen in this big pandemic, and we can all contribute in our own way and take care of ourselves.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and sparing your precious time. I think we appreciate all the efforts you and your team is doing round the clock to help these patients with black fungus. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.